Yeah, I definitely have to focus on, how to create tension. So is that normally, so kind of just two people coming at something from a different place? Would that?
There's a lot of different ways. I mean, some of it is just the conflict of the scene and making sure that you are communicating how the character feels and how they're reacting. You know, in this scene, people are being really quite antagonistic to them and treating them in not a very polite way. And so just saying that it made him angry, it made him self-conscious, it made him embarrassed, however he is reacting to that. And maybe even when it comes to thoughts, what does it make him want to do? Does it make him want to go hide? Does it make him want to punch the wall? Does he wish he could trip that guy on the way out the door? Things like that. So we're getting his emotional reactions. That really helps up the stakes, is just to get that emotion in there, because the reader will follow you. The reader will feel what the character is feeling.
Um,
Now, I
okay.
mean, what you said something interesting, two people coming at it from different angles, and yeah, for sure, that can help too. We especially do that in dialogue, having them sort of seem like they're disagreeing a little bit in dialogue to make the dialogue pop, but I'm not sure if that's what you mean.
Um, well, not necessarily always dialogue, but
Mhm. Okay. Have you gone
yeah.
through the emotional editing blueprint yet?
I think I did some of it. I don't know if I did all of it.
So one
Um,
thing that you might want to do here, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, looks like that might not work. Okay. And I'll just kind of show you. You could take this. So I'm in the membership, and you go to the learning tab, and it's just right here, the emotional editing blueprint. And you might want to take this scene and put it through the blueprint. I mean, get it all the way written first, the way that you want it. But see how this says making scenes emotional? Pacing tricks, this is what you're doing here, the 10 plot points. So you're already doing that. But this goes over character reactions. There's a practice story. And then also descriptions, in the story. How much detail, five sensory experience, visceral words. And if you put your chapter through this and do what this tells you to do, you can also look for
oh,
passive voice here. Um,
yeah.
that'll help your chapter pop a lot more on the page too.
Yeah, I think I did like one or two of these. I didn't do the whole thing. Yeah, I
Okay.
did one or two.
Yeah, and I mean no hurry or anything, but that will help you with the writing on
Okay.
the page. Yeah.
Writing stars here to make sure I do this. Uh, okay. So the other thing then I have trouble with, like, I understand how you're saying, oh, it made him mad. It made him, maybe he wants to punch the wall, or does he want to run out the door? Or, what does he want to do? Um, okay, so if, like in this, I'm telling it in the third person.
Mhm.
So if I want to do his internal dialogue, like, do I do that in the first person, or how would I, like, just,
No, I
how
wouldn't
would I
do it in the
say
third.
that?
I wouldn't do it in the first person if you're doing a third person narrator. Here, let me pull up something I have and see if I can find an example. I have Gadrin somewhere. Okay. Just looking for a good example. So if, I'll share this again, share my screen so you
Okay.
can see it. So this is a chapter I wrote not too long ago, and I actually think this is probably in the course somewhere because I used it for the write my book with me
Okay.
recording. But this is a guy and his dragon, and they are hiding. So this is just talking about they found a canyon and kind of what it looks like. And then we come down here and it says, so far, the color of the stone proved an effective camouflage for Amalia, that's his dragon. Of course, Gadrin could just hide himself under one of her wings. He wasn't convinced their luck would hold, though. The patrols did not venture particularly close. If one flew directly over them, he feared they would still be discovered. So you see how these are his thoughts, but they're not in the first person. They're just saying what he
Okay.
thinks, what he's thinking about, what he's worrying about in the scene.
Oh, so I'm
Um,
still saying, so I'd be like, okay, George wished he could kick the guy
right, right.
without getting arrested or
Yeah, like something
something
like,
like,
after the man says you guys should stay in your own lane, and just say the way that he looked down his nose at George as he took his son's hand and walked out of the store made George want to stick out his foot and trip him. That would be internal
uh,
dialogue.
oh,
Um,
excellent.
in
That's
terms
good.
of, embarrassment, I mean, it doesn't seem to me like George is particularly embarrassed. Is it the other kid more who's feeling really
The other
insecure and
kid is
embarrassed?
more embarrassed, but maybe George is feeling, I mean, he's not breezing through this. He's just keeping a cool exterior.
Okay. But see, that's a
Um,
really good thing to say. So you could say something like, his face grew hot as he felt the eyes of everyone in the store on him, but he made sure to keep his expression tranquil and his
mm,
manners very good and just said, I would like this, please. So that you're showing the contrast between what's going on underneath versus what he's showing to people on the surface.
okay. Okay, so even though inside is fate, whatever, okay, because you know what, like what you just said makes sense to me, but like when I try to do something like that, my brain says, that's telling and not showing kind of
Mm,
stuff. So I get like, there's so many editors in your head,
right.
like I had that really bad the other day. I'm trying to write this down, and this editor's saying, "Oh, you spelled that word wrong," and this editor's saying, "Oh, that's you should be showing, not telling," and then this editor's like, "Don't use that word, use this word," and I'm like, "Just all shut up." I got to get
Yeah.
something onto the page, and then we'll come
Right,
back
right.
later. But I think everybody goes through that.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but yeah, they're all different editors for different things, and sometimes it's amazing anything gets to the page at all,
Right.
even
Well,
though
and I mean, I think in terms of showing versus telling when you're talking about their emotions, I mean,
yeah.
showing is you're kind of, quote unquote, showing us their thoughts or showing us their physical reactions.
Mm,
So there's a difference between saying George felt embarrassed, that would be telling us, but
right.
you're saying his face got hot with embarrassment and you know what I mean? And to say like what his physical reactions are, what he's thinking, and you can
Yeah.
say he was embarrassed. You can throw that in there. A lot of times you need to name the emotion, but it's just not
Oh,
George felt embarrassed. It's like, you know, putting in the context of how it's showing up for him in his body and in his thoughts and how he's reacting to what's happening around him.
because you have to really tell his thoughts. Nobody can guess the thoughts
Right, right,
100%
exactly.
by just whatever. So he's kind of, the stuff's going on inside, but outside he's trying to act very cool and very whatever.
Right.
Okay, so I'll have to explain that part. Okay. Oh, all kinds of light bulbs going on today.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much. It's been very helpful so far.
Of course, of
Oh,
course.
I have time still. I have to
Mhm.
leave about five of because I'm in the library and somebody else needs the room at 3.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's fine. You've got a few
this
minutes.
is, I was hoping I'd be able to do this in my office, but I can't. So I have to run across the street to the library. So,
Ah,
we do what we can.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, okay, so yeah, all right, so I'll do that and let me get this. Okay, so, um, all right, so, for it, um, okay. Um,
Anything else you need help with or that we can go over?
well, that's most of today.
Okay.
Just trying to get this. Um, so, um, then how I had the girl. like with her necklace in and out, did that come across at all as like, I kind of had it that she's kind of fighting with her Christianity over,
Yeah.
should I be nice to this person, but I don't want to be nice to this person. I just kind of, I don't know, I felt like it needed to be there for whatever reason. But does that come across at all that
Yeah, I
she's
think it
kind
did.
of
I noticed it as a
struggling?
detail, and I kind of figured that. I mean, do you ever have anywhere in the book, do you ever have a scene from her point of view, or no? She's just a minor character.
Um, no, I really don't have her show up again.
Okay. I mean, you could even give his thoughts about that. Like, maybe he
Oh,
could
yes.
notice her playing with the medallion and being nice to him, and like have him say, okay, like, maybe I can appeal to her Christianity because she's a Christian woman. And then he'll notice that when she puts it back, that's when she turns her back on him and decides not to be so Christian, or you know what I mean? Like you could bring
Uh,
that across in a more obvious way by having him kind of realize what she's doing.
have him notice it. Okay. Yeah, like she's struggling because part of her knows she should be treating him as an equal, but then the society that she's in and the guy kind of saying, oh, they shouldn't be here or whatever. So she's conflicted about the whole thing, which
Hmm.
is kind of an ongoing thing throughout the book. I mean, okay, so that's good. Have George notice that she's doing that. Okay. Um, that's yeah. See, it sounds so easy when you say it, but then when I go back, it's like, how do I do this? Just
Well, it's like
algebra.
anything else. The
Oh,
more you practice it, the easier it'll become.
yeah. Like algebra when the teacher would go, oh, and blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, that makes total sense. And you go home and
Yeah.
do the homework, and you're like, oh,
Like, how did she do
how
that?
does this work? Okay, so we'll have George notice that. And that kind of would add a little bit of tension, right? Because he's saying, what the heck, this girl's got a cross and now she's hiding her cross. Maybe
Hmm.
have him do that. Because, Christianity will be an ongoing thing throughout too.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
we all, we're only human. So,
Well, if that's the
um,
case, if that's a big theme, then I would have him notice it, and I would try to bring it out more so that it's a little bit more obvious
okay,
to the reader that that's, part of
okay.
what the struggle is and what the story is.
Okay, so that I guess is what I'll have to be working on is how to get his thoughts, like the internal dialogue onto the
Hmm.
page where that's where the editor shows up so it doesn't get to the page, but I'm just going to put it on the page and then
Yeah.
have the editor come by later and
Right.
make it pretty.